Willkommen bei Sales & Pepper, dem modernen Vertriebspodcast für alle, die keinen Bock mehr haben auf 0815 Vertrieb.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Sales & Pepper podcast. My name is Gerald, I'm your co-host today, and with me is Ewa Roman from bookingkit. She has 14 years experience in the Berlin tech startup and scale-up scene, seeing everything from sales, account management, revenue operations. And I'm very, very much interested in today's topic where we talk about tools, the tool stack, what Ewa saw over the last couple of years, and also what is implemented there. Ewa, welcome. Thanks for your time and really, really great having you here.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Really a pleasure having you here. Ewa, tell us a little bit, first of all, what brought you to your current role at bookingkit? Yeah, also what does bookingkit do? Yeah, and what are you excited about at bookingkit?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I just passed my 4 years at bookingkit. I started in the company right after the COVID wave hit us, and it's been a great adventure to work at bookingkit. It's a very dynamic company. The online booking engine that the company developed is on the market already 10 years. We are a very well-established organization with many customers, especially in the DACH region. We've been, over the last couple of years, winning great attractions. This is our main ICP, and working with customers in the space is a quite interesting and inspiring experience. What brought me to bookingkit is definitely, as I mentioned, the COVID era was quite crazy. It was also the time when I became a mom. So I had my career break for 1.5 years, and then I started looking for some new challenges, and that's how I found bookingkit, and bookingkit found me.
Ewa, lots of people know famous attractions. Yeah, what are some of the attractions you guys are serving? Yeah, in the background, because some people might already have used your service in the background.
Yeah, totally. So for years, one of our lighthouse customers in Berlin was the TV tower. Unfortunately, it's not a customer anymore. This industry is also pretty dynamic. It consists of many competitors. So I would say you will definitely get to see systems like ours also on other attractions. We are working, for example, with very famous amusement park, movie park in West Germany. We also have quite a few very prominent museums in our portfolio, but as well on the international market. Our footprint is especially significant in Italy, when there's this very famous attraction in Rome, Pantheon, that you probably have visited already as well. They also are using our booking engine to serve their end customers.
Very nice. I'm a big fan of Rome, so I visited it already, but didn't know, obviously, that this is what is in the background here. Yeah. Ewa, what brought you to sales leadership? Why sales leadership? What brought you in there?
Well, definitely sales leadership is a very challenging job, right? I like challenges, and I think in the environment that I can still learn, grow, and develop my skills, myself, but also support organizations in reaching their business target is the environment I feel very good at. Yeah.
Before ever we jump into the tools you guys are using, the tech stack, AI, and all these things where I'm very much excited about to learn more from you, how is your team in general structured? Can you elaborate a little bit more for the listeners here? How are you structured? What are the roles you have? And so on and so forth.
Yeah, so we have a team which consists now of 7 sales reps, and the bigger part of the team is focused on mid-market and enterprise customers, because our overall ambition at the company is go more upmarket. So over the years, this part of the team got bigger. So it's now 5 people focused primarily on DACH plus international, and two great colleagues who are focused on SMB part, and primary focus again, DACH, Italy, and a bit of international markets.
And that's also super interesting, and they can obviously be very proud to have you, and also with that not international but European level of different languages, cultures. That's obviously also in sales quite a challenging topic, I can imagine, into the different markets, We jump into it, more into the tool side of things, and we would also like to understand a little bit, how are you using different tools? How does this work like? So can you elaborate a little bit? Is your tech stack? What are the most important tools you are using as of today?
Yeah, thank you. At BookingKit, at the moment, our core of go-to-market teams is obviously our CRM. We are in HubSpot. All of the teams which we've migrated 18 months ago from Salesforce. And on top of HubSpot, obviously, we have all the other tools that are supporting us in monitoring, developing the team's coaching, and managing everything in the background. So next to HubSpot, we definitely use Clay, and that has been a very significant tool that's changed a lot of our daily operations. We use as well Kickscale, which has been also a tool that we've been using for almost 2 years now, that definitely made a huge shift in how the teams are tracking their progress and how the coaching activities are being organized. Then we also use, obviously, Slack for the whole communication. We have a lot of Zapier automations around our Slack. Then for managing contracts, it's Contract Book. Then it's Metabase for BI activities. And last but not least, there's also KPIs, which has been the latest add-on to the team, which is conversational AI around our knowledge base. So basically the team members, instead of searching for information themselves, they just ask the tool and it just was fed with all the wiki, all the company knowledge. So this is also the latest add-on that is making sure that the team has all the knowledge that they need to have.
Kurze Pause, bevor es weitergeht. Zeit für unseren Partner Kickscale. Jeder, der im Sales arbeitet, kennt es. Admin-Kram nervt. Stundenlang Meeting-Notizen tippen, CRM aufräumen, E-Mails schreiben und dabei möchtest du doch eigentlich nur verkaufen. Mit Kickscale geht das auf Knopfdruck. Das Tool nimmt deine Sales Calls DSGVO-konform auf, fasst alles automatisch zusammen, überträgt die Infos direkt ins CRM und erstellt sogar eine fertige E-Mail für deinen Kunden. Weniger tippen, mehr Sales. Und als Hörer bekommst du exklusiv 50 kostenlose Meeting-Analysen. Link in den Shownotes. Und jetzt geht's weiter mit der Folge.
How did this event, super exciting, and thanks for sharing. How did this change when you look back and you have so much experience in all the different fields from revenue operations and so on? How did this change when you look at from a today's perspective in back when you started in revenue operations, key account management, and all these things? Yeah, what are the differences here?
Now, I think as for most of us, the shift into AI world is a massive game changer. I think we are saving a massive amount of time in, let's say, writing follow-up emails, making sure that the data is properly synced into the CRM, visibility, transparency. There's so much areas that I think the different tools impacted the day-to-day work, and I think we can, with that, be more efficient and really focus on a valuable customer conversation, not on taking notes and writing follow-ups.
Can you ever, and that's super exciting because that's also a passionate topic from my side, obviously, talking about Kickscale and being the founder of that, to enable customers like you saying, hey, you can focus on the conversations and not on note-taking, CRM updates, and so on. What would you, if you have some numbers, great, but if not, if you would guess, what's really the time savings for your team per person or as a whole through this process of gathering information? And also, as a follow-up question, what's the impact for you in the CRM system with the clean data topic?
Yeah. Only this year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we recorded around 1,000 hours of meetings only this year in Kickscale tool. And not every conversation is obviously being recorded, right? There are different reasons or different also adoption challenges in the team. And I think that only probably saved us a couple of hours per week per department. And we have two big departments using Kickscale at the moment because it's sales, but it's also a success team. So I would roughly estimate 5-6 hours per week savings in this only not purely note-taking. On top of that, there's also this valuable time that we save on monitoring the team activities, right? It's way less manual. So I don't have to be myself, let's say, shadowing someone, but I just can watch it at my convenience and moving on with all the newest updates that are now available in Kickscale, it is also, again, another time-saving activity, because then I can really aggregate way much more data than I was able to do even like 1.5 years before. So I think every month just brings new opportunities to optimize further and to make sure that we are really focusing on what's essential.
Yeah, what's being essential is one of the key topics, because what we see also, what I personally see out there is so much information, right? And there is so much noise going on there. So focusing on the key elements becomes very much critical. Yeah, and obviously having a database with all your customer conversations and have there the right information gets more and more key. Eva, what kind of data do you get out there? What is like the things, I would say, what changed for you when you have all of this data, the valuable customer data, where you more or less with a couple of clicks or even with 2 clicks know what's going on? What changed for you compared to when you didn't have that?
Sure. When I will give you one tangible example. When I arrived to BookingKit, I landed on the Salesforce setup, which was really not perfect. I would say it was far from perfect, as in we've had a lot of data gaps. And over time, we took this very brave decision to move everything. And this is a 10-year-old company, so obviously we've had a lot of data, and we had to hire external agencies to help us with cleaning up, with setting things up. And now I still landed on this clean CRM, more data, right? But still building these reports, reporting back to product, what are the current requirements of the market, reporting back to marketing, what are the most common pain points. That was still a lot of like clicking around, fixing the gaps, double checking with the team, and that was still very much painful process. But now I have a feeling that with Kickscale, literally with one click, I can also, modify the time frames. I can modify at which stage of the customer journey, like I want to really focus now, which was really impossible in HubSpot. And I think that gave us this close alignment inside of the organization as well. And I think BookingKit just got smarter and can really pinpoint better than before.
One thing, Eva, you mentioned is also you moved away from Salesforce, 10-year-old company, to HubSpot then, which I cannot even imagine what kind of process this is, because having data in a CRM, the CRM is a centralized place where it's going on. And we see also lots of companies, especially in your size, using HubSpot as a CRM system. What was like also, because I think this is also lots of listeners, especially on the revenue operations side, but also on the sales leadership side, think of, hey, am I on the right CRM system? Because obviously the CRM system is the base for everything. As you mentioned, at Kickscale, we feed the CRM system. We also read from the CRM system, like the deals, make some scoring on the deals or warnings on the deals. But without great data in the CRM system, you are flying blind. We see ourselves as a solution where you can get data out of the customer conversations. What was like, if you know it, if not, then obviously you joined then. But what was like really some of the reasons you said you moved to HubSpot then compared to Salesforce?
I think the legacy, let's say, not the best setup, that is not really aligned with how we want to work. So we really have this ambition to build this engine that is just running. And I think we are almost at the end of this journey that we started more than a year ago, having this decision, okay, guys, we have to move, because like we are like kind of close to giving up on this, because we've had only on the opportunity in Salesforce more than 100 fields. And that was like kind of a wild west of data that we ended up with. And I think it was a good decision to then, again, align all the departments in one CRM. We had marketing working in HubSpot already, and the rest working in Salesforce. So it was somehow for us a decision of like, we have to be all together in this, because there's no single silo. Why we should have like someone being completely siloed. And customer success also didn't have like a proper tool, like their usage of Salesforce was also fairly limited. And now we are all in HubSpot, so the 3 GTM departments we have at BookingKit. And I think we are almost at the end to make it perfect.
Oh, wow, that sounds really, and it's a very nice statement, yeah, because I saw that as well when I was working at Bitmo, when I was there also head of inside sales, 7 years there. And so also we used Pardot, yeah, which is a Salesforce marketing automation software, and we moved then also to HubSpot. And so this connectivity between the systems is, like you mentioned, also the handoffs and so on. It always, at least from my experience, generates friction. Yeah, so that's why we at Kickscale also power HubSpot, for example, but also other CRMs to say, let's make this less frictionless. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
Ewa, one thing you mentioned on the alignment side of things, yeah, and really enjoy these insights from you, from sharing Salesforce to HubSpot and the tools you are using. Yeah, how, and you, and I think this is one speciality of you, you have seen so many different departments, different teams over the last 14 years. Yeah, and I'm super excited having you here because this, I would call it 360-degree view, is something I think lots of revenue leaders miss these days, yeah, which you bring in from revenue operations, key account management, success, but also then sales. How do you see all these handover processes? Because we were also talking before a little bit, it's alignment is one of the most important functions. Yeah, I think even a great sales team, if your product, your USPs, the value you are bringing to your customers, the marketing leads which are coming in, if you are maybe on an inbound motion, yeah, are not fitting and you are not closing. And I found that 10 years back, maybe a lot easier due to less competition, less global market, whatever, or even 10, 15 years earlier. But now this whole GTM department, yeah, needs to be aligned. Yeah, I wrote a book about the sales skills book, yeah, which is amazing for sales skills. But I see now also it needs to be more. How do you make sure that everyone is really aligned with the tools you also have?
Exactly. So the challenge we faced around like 2.5 years ago was massive challenge of sales team delivering. And then we were really not able to fully get all the customers on board because our software also requires onboarding with onboarding managers, and we faced like drop-off ratio of like 40%, which was endangering the whole customer journey, and it was basically wasting our resources. Now, here's kudos to my dearest friend Laura, head of customer success at BookingKit, because like with everything we've done over the last 2 years, we've managed to bring this rate up to 90% of our customers are being fully onboarded.
Oh, wow.
In also way shorter period of time. So that's very much important for the revenues that are behind those customers. How we did it, how we were able to achieve it. We were just sitting down and realizing we look at different KPIs. Yeah. We work in different systems. We are so siloed, and we basically took our time. And I think it's also important, not only for the leadership, but also for the other teams. BookingKit is 80 people company, so we are not the biggest organization out there. So we really took this time, sit down, had a series of workshops with external consultants that also supported us in kind of reinventing the whole reinventing the whole customer journey, because it was, of course, outlined. We had quite a good documentation about it. However, still, those handoff points were the source of frictions. And at the moment, we just used a beautiful bow tie model, draw it on the whiteboard in the office. We were locked for a couple of hours, and then we really defined, okay, what are my KPIs? What are my conversion rates? And it's not anymore my silo KPIs. So those are not only the KPIs I'm looking at. Those are KPIs I'm looking at together with marketing and then with success team, which is like on the right side of the bow tie model. So that really helped us having those clear definition, transparency, and looking at basically the same data sources, the same source of truth. I cannot imagine working differently, because that will always be the source of frictions, unsatisfaction, and frustration at the end of the day.
It's so interesting that you say that, because it sounds so easy, to have the same KPIs, but in real, it's super hard, right?
It was very hard, It was very hard. That was kind of the whole first half of 24. So more than a year ago, when we had a series of these workshops, then we had full-time revenue operation manager that was supporting us in building that. We've worked also with external consultants and we've got a lot of support. And I think it's also important because not every organization would have invested like resources, money and time into such a project, right? So I think it's also important that the organization acknowledges, guys, something is broken, and not like, okay, let's go with the flow. Let's do it as we were always doing it, and we will fix it on the fly. So I think it was a very bold decision. It cost us money, time, and resources, but I think we've achieved it. And this is only possible when the organization also acknowledges and pushes the leadership forward to get things done along this.
Congrats on that, and I obviously know also Hans Christian, you and Laura and so on, and also a great team where you, as a team, you work amazing together, and also obviously the individual contributors, and as I always say, the truth sets you free, right? And I think we mentioned it already in another podcast episode. Only if you know the truth, you can change something, How was this? What was the hardest part of that? Because I think so many revenue leaders out there, they have the same challenges, when it comes to SDR topics, AE topics, then customer success, and I see that also with us now at Kickscale while scaling up, we see also these challenges. Kind of say, the sales team is closing something, but what are the KPIs? How does the onboarding look like? And you know that as well, You are thankfully already a long-term customer of ours, and you see, if you don't have the same KPIs, super hard. What was the hardest part for you in that? Let's phrase it in two questions. What was the hardest part? And what was the part you said, hey, that was somehow easier than expected, if you can mention?
The hardest part, I think, were really the definitions, surprisingly. So I thought we're like, we know our product, we know what we are like selling, we know what we are marketing, and we know which customers are in our portfolio. But somehow there were some, then we discovered that there were really some misunderstanding around like, okay, like which type of prospects we should let in from, let's say, different sources of being inbound or being the ones that we are, giving to the team for the cold outreach, right? So because as our software is pretty limited to the narrow like verticals and to the markets, of course, we constantly have those discussions around, okay, who are we letting, let's say, who is the accepted prospect that the sales team should be talking with, even investing the time, right? So that was on this definition part. We had many topics. Okay, but like if we do this, that might have a consequence in that, right? So definitely that was harder than expected. What was your second question, Gerald?
The second, it was already a great answer on the first question.
Thank you.
What was easier than you thought? So you said the hard part, I get it, this KPI definition, and then having it, but what was easier than you expected, if something?
I think easier was definitely internal communication around it, because I thought that maybe there will be some confusion in our go-to-market teams, that those individual contributors will also have, let's say, some other ideas, other visions, but somehow I think the internal communication was fairly widely accepted, and we had, of course, this, let's say, bow-tie model launch or release being communicated to the teams, and I think all the teams were also very happy, and the level of acceptance was very, very high, in my opinion.
Ewa, you mentioned to also wrap this up a little bit. You mentioned HubSpot, obviously, you mentioned Clay, you mentioned Kickscale. Could you just really quickly elaborate the tools and the main purpose of these tools, and maybe also a little bit what do you like the most on these free tools here? Yeah,
cool. So starting from Clay, because this is how the customer journey kind of starts. Clay is definitely used for us to enrich the data we have. Our CRM is already full of companies that we have in our database, so to say, but we constantly have to make sure that the contact details, the verticals, but as well the potential, the revenue potential, that is up to date. So we definitely use Clay for enrichment, but as well for the outreach purposes. So Clay plus Twain is also our machine that we are using now to send highly personalized sequences. And this has been also like a small test that we were running, and now these days we are really very much looking into scaling this up because it also gave us some good promising first results.
So what do you use? You use Clay obviously for the signals as well, and then rank the leads. So how can you go a little bit deeper on?
So we've built with the Clay gens, we've kind of prompt exactly what do we have to be checking. So let's say in our industry, it's very important to indicate how big the attraction is. Definitely you look at the amount of Google reviews, right? So we look at the website traffic, Google reviews. And there are a couple of indicators that we've basically defined. And it also took us a couple of months to tweak it, to make sure that it's bulletproof. But I would say we always trying and this is again the topic of alignment, always trying to have this feedback loop. At BookingKit, this lives with marketing team, right? So every month we are trying to have this regular feedback loop that we are tweaking those prompts in a way that we achieve the results we really wanted.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds really good, yeah. Second tool we mentioned then, Kickscale, yeah.
Kickscale,
How are you using that?
Yes. Kickscale basically started for us mostly as a note taker, right? Because that was the first use case that we basically jumped into. That was a game changer because for us, it allowed us to follow up quicker. It allowed us to track back what have been said, what have been not communicated yet. But over the time, as you and your team have been developing the tool so greatly, we definitely are trying to be always on top of the newer feature, newer functionalities. So now at the moment, I think the main use case is really the coaching part with the scorecards that I found very useful. This is very much visual, very transparent tool where I can really see the development, where I can see patterns, but I also can react ad hoc whenever I see, there's something wrong. I definitely like how customizable it is because every industry and every company has own needs. And I think the fact that I can really define those scorecards as I really want them to define them, it's just amazing. And the topic we've already touched upon, the insights, so really producing the reports, basically kind of talking with the data and being able to generate some sort of summaries out of it and share it internally, being with management, being with product or with marketing.
It's super interesting what you say, because that's what we see also across the customer base, that when using AI, and having you mentioned you recorded more than 1,000 hours even, which is more than 1,400 meetings then, I guess, within Kickscale. And
only this year, Gerald.
True, yeah.
Yeah, but last year was also full, right?
True, yeah. So this year is not, we record the podcast now, but it will be released a little bit later, so it will be even more at the end of the year. Yeah. The thing is, what I see more and more, that the truth is in the customer data. Yeah, would you agree with that as well, or is this for you also something where you say, hey, I thought it differently, but the customers talk about it different? How do you see that?
No, I completely agree with what you said, and to give a tangible example on the handoff topic, because this is what we've also achieved with the success team, and I think this is an amazing tip for anyone who's listening today, to really cover the whole customer journey in such tool like Kickscale, because what we've did now, like having conversations starting from the first product demo until onboarding and then business reviews on the customer success side, that allows us to really cover all the topics from beginning on. And now with the aggregated data, we can draw even better conclusions. So we can really explore what were the customers' expectations before the sign up.
Oh, wow.
How are we achieving their business goals now? During quarterly business review, right? What has been said during sales process, and what is the onboarding manager hearing? Like, did we oversell? We don't have to have a meeting about who did oversell it, but we can just check in Kickscale. So that's really great, and that's so helpful. Yeah.
Nice. Eva, thank you. Yeah, I can totally relate. Sometimes it's good to know it. Sometimes maybe bad to know it to oversort something. Yeah, just I'm talking here. Last but not least, HubSpot. You mentioned it already more, aligning all teams on one database, so to say. Yeah, we see that as well, that customers, companies are more successful when they have one CRM, where everyone lives in. What's like the speciality for you on HubSpot, and how do you leverage it?
To be honest, I'm such a huge fan of HubSpot Copilot these days. So I feel like I'm playing every day just to explore more and more features, because HubSpot has been also adding a lot of AI features. So they have like now the thing that we are very much looking into is the HubSpot prospecting, which gives us also like the deal health scores, some suggested actions for the team. Also like writing follow-ups, but also researching from the external sources. So if you click on the prompt that's like, tell me the latest news about the company, and try to put it also somehow in my next outreach email. Also, HubSpot is slowly getting there to be also this AI assistance, right? So I think there's a very high adoption rate, at least at BookingKit sales team, into this Copilot of HubSpot. So I think we will still do great things with it. I think it's just the beginning of the journey.
Nice, yeah. Totally
From
agree.
all the other tools as well, Gemini has been also our partner in crime for the last couple of months, definitely. And also I think this tool is developing greatly, and we've been also using Gemini to make a faster, better, presentations, to tweak something, and also in a Google spreadsheet. So this just kind of this hands-on day-to-day tasks, which the team is also leveraging on. Yeah.
Nice. Eva, last but not least, as we are coming to the end of this show and this episode, not this show, but this episode, one question I ask everyone here. What would you do today differently when building up a sales team from scratch? How would you start? Like, there are so many listeners, and I know this is a tough question,
It is.
But what are like your key takeaways, and say, hey, I built up a sales team from scratch. What would you do? What would you do first, second, and third, maybe in that range?
What would I do first? The CRM hygiene, to be really top-notch from the day one, right? Because I think once you start building something, you can produce data gaps and knowledge gaps from the day one, right? And there are just some mistakes that are just repeating itself, and I think that's just then this thing you're building on top of that, and you will be constantly frustrated with it. So definitely I would get like the team to the level that there's some sort of incentivize even like to get the things really properly documented. But obviously now these days the tools like Kickscale are definitely a huge supporter in this challenge. Second thing I would do, also giving the, let's say, the right materials to the team, right? I think still topics like webinars, content pieces, good quality, success stories, right? Those are the things that are must-have nowadays, because I think there have been years in sales when it was like kind of always like produced ad hoc. The customer sentiment was not that relevant in the sales conversations. But I think these days, really having a customer testimonial as a solid base is crucial. So I think I would already from day one equip the team with some good, if you don't have yet the customers, that's not so easy, but even good quality content pieces or a webinar roadmap, something that the team can really tangibly use in the conversation. And data. So I think also at BookingKit, we are definitely trying to step up our game, having the huge base of the customers. You definitely should equip your team with the good quality examples, numbers of, as you just asked me about the time savings. So definitely making sure that the sales activities are also data driven and that we are communicating the right KPIs to the right customers in order to cut their attention, because there's just so much noise that you just have to somehow stood up.
Yeah. One final question, and thanks a lot for answering that in such a nice detailed flow. What are you most excited about in the next 6 to 12 months, and what are you most afraid of in the next 6? Really, honestly, what do you see there? Especially, I see so many people out there, AI sales, will AI replace sales reps? There are so many opinions. What are you most excited about? What do you fear the most also as a human?
I don't know, ChatGPT 5. Maybe by the time it's released, it's already live. And
most excited or most afraid?
Both. So I think it can definitely bring us to the next level. But it's just still quite vague. We are recording here mid of July, right? So let's see. But definitely, I'm very much like looking into like how the tools that, let's say, we are already using will be able to even leverage even more on that. I'm super excited to really fully finish our setup in HubSpot, in our bow tie model, in the whole customer journey to be fully aligned. We've done a lot with sales success handoff. We still have quite a few open topics with marketing to sales handoff. So I really do hope that we will get those topics sorted still this year, and that 26 will be also, better in our quota achievement, that with this solid setup, we will be able to let the team focus really on, again, what's essential. And then the team is great. It's great team. I'm working really with amazing and talented people who are very good at the valuable conversations. So I really want to do everything in the background for them to be able to win us more amazing attractions and more amazing customers.
Thank you very much. And with that, thank you guys also out there for listening. It was a pleasure having Ewa, you here today. Thanks for joining. Feel free, obviously, to follow Ewa Roman as well on LinkedIn and on any other channels you might be available as well. And obviously, any kind of questions, any kind of comments, feel free to put a note also in the show notes, comment it. Thanks a lot for listening in. I'm Gerald, your co-host. Feel free also to follow Kickscale as well as me on LinkedIn. And looking forward to the next episode. Ewa, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.